Hi, I'm John Calarco, Holistic Health and Performance Coach. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the bird dog exercise, resisted. Unleash your power, achieve your potential. In a previous video, I showed you how to do the bird dog just body weight with no extra resistance or significantly progressed challenge, which you're going to get here as I show you the banded version of the bird dog. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll link it here on the video for you, and I'd highly recommend to go watch it after you watch this video so you can really learn some of the fundamentals and foundational benefits that we're going to get out of doing the bird dog exercise. But if you've already watched that video, or maybe you've done the bird dog before in the past and you've mastered that exercise and you feel like it's pretty easy for you, you want to bring the challenge up a notch, then make sure you watch this video to the end because I'm going to show you a few ways to do exactly that. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, the first video I made here on the bird dog, this exercise is going to develop a great foundation of core stability and hip stability as we go through. It's going to carry over and help us perform better in one of the 7 fundamental human movement patterns, which is gait, because we're going to be moving in this reciprocal opposite hand, opposite leg movement as we stabilize the core, which is really what happens when we do anything crawling, walking, running, which is our gait patterns. All right, so this exercise is going to only help us develop our core stability and improve our spine posture even more as we bring up that challenge and further cement that great posture, strength, and stability into that movement pattern. Okay, so to set up for this resisted bird dog, what we're going to do is come onto the ground, onto all fours. Now I have 2 bands here. The one that I'm going to be using is going to be the FMT band, which is this one here. And it tends to work best for an exercise like this, but you could also use, if you have just a super band, like a long looped band, you can set that one right inside the thumb there, and then you can set the band right around the middle of the foot, and you can do the exercise resisted opposite hand, opposite leg with this type of a band as well, if this is the type of one you do have. Now, as you can see, this band for me has way too much resistance. It was just the only one I had around. So make sure you use a band where you can achieve that full extension, as I'm going to show you in a minute here with the FMT band. Now, the FMT band is a little bit easier to set up because we're just going to take that single strap of the band, put our foot through it. Okay, it's a little more comfortable than the rubber band that we have in the foot there, especially if you're barefoot like I like to train. All right, and then we're going to take our hands onto the handles of each band here, and we can do some cool things with adjusting the tension on the band, which I'll show you in a minute here as we go through the exercise. Now, we're going to set knees under hips, set those hands under the shoulders, and now with your hands, if you're using the FMT band, you can either have your full grip on the handles and be on your fists, or you can just have your palms planted down on it, whatever is more comfortable for your wrists and for you. All right, then, as you may have learned in that previous video, if you watched it, the most important thing here is to set that neutral spine position. So first, we're going to tuck that chin back, and then second, we're going to go ahead and fully extend that lower spine, okay? And then we're going to come off about 2 inches. That's generally the right position for us to be able to take that punch in the stomach and find that great neutral spine posture, okay? So make sure you're ready for that little bit of a punch in the stomach, and we're set in neutral, we're not overextended, and we're not significantly flexed there through the spine, okay? Once you're set there, all right, knees under hips, hands under shoulders, neutral spine is set. Make sure you're pushing that ground away aggressively through the shoulder blades, so we're getting that shoulder blade protraction, and make sure the shoulders are down away from the ears. Don't let them creep up. All right, then from there, we're gonna do that same movement pattern, but now, as you can see, I'm strapped up. I got a band on my foot, band on my hand here. I'm gonna go ahead and exhale and drive out opposite hand, opposite leg. And as you can see, it's a lot harder for me to get out into that full extension, all right? So it's putting not only more of a demand on my core, my abdominals, but also my shoulders and my hips. You'll feel your glutes significantly more as you do the exercise. So you have to stay on the same side as you do this exercise for each one, because you're obviously strapped up into a band, so we don't have that option of alternating. But again, exhale. Don't let that spine change its position. Still hit that full extension, which is having the leg and the arm just about parallel with the floor as we get into that fully extended position. All right, now, if you're using an FMT band, you can adjust the tension on the band by simply just keeping your hand on the handle of your left hand and then coming up and grabbing more up on the strap on this hand. So you can either just grab on the middle of the strap, you could take your thumb through here, okay? This is actually the lightest FMT band they make in this purple color, and as you can see for me, it's still pretty significantly challenging. So you may need to start with just a hand in, all right, and this hand just kind of free, or you could start it under the shoulder still. It's just the band is going to be pretty loose. So whatever you prefer, as long as that band stays secure, and then we can still go through the exercise, but again, we decrease that tension on it so that it's not so demanding, and we can still achieve that full range of motion. Now, you can even just grab the strap on the other side of the band as well if you really needed to decrease that tension, okay, on the FMT band. And then of course, if you're using a super band, you just need a lighter band to modify the tension. So again, now you can see why I like the FMT band best for this exercise, because you can really adjust it. Now, if you're still having trouble achieving that full hip extension, or I should say full range of motion on the exercise in general, then one of the things you can do here, and one of the ways I like to start people out, is just using the legs. So this is another variation you can do. Just exhale, push back in the legs. Maybe you want to just focus more on getting some good training in your glute and hamstring as you extend the hip. That's another great thing that you can do here in this exercise using a banded. You don't necessarily have to go opposite hand, opposite leg, but again, you're going to get that added core stability benefit from doing the reciprocal motion of opposite hand, opposite leg, and we're going to work on that shoulder mobility and stability as we fully reach out. All right, so that's a variation that you can do here on this exercise. Another variation, if you don't have a big band, is you could take a mini band that I have here, okay? Take it onto the feet like this. All right, and as you can imagine, now if I go back into that bird dog position, all right, I'm on all fours, okay, pushing the ground away, sit in that neutral spine. I can go opposite hand, opposite leg. Okay, and I can get that added hip extension challenge and core stability challenge, but the challenge increase will be more on the hip extensors there as we work through that mini band version. So that's another great variation that you can work on here in this exercise to, again, bring that challenge up on the bird dog, which tends to get pretty easy as we do it. So, all right, remember, just a quick review from the previous video. I showed you how to do those corrections and avoid those common mistakes. So again, as you go through the exercise, whether you're banded or you're doing a body weight or with the mini band, remember, we don't want to overextend that lower spine, so no overextension of the lower spine as we go through the exercise. That's the biggest mistake we don't want to make. Stay ready for that punch in the stomach the whole time and keep that neutral spine. And then of course, we do want to achieve that full extension there. So try not to be short on your range of motion. Reach to that wall in front, reach to that wall behind you. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we're not collapsing through the shoulders, okay, as we go through, and we don't want to rotate either, okay? So as you go opposite hand, opposite leg, it's easy to let that rotation happen. But again, those are some fundamental mistakes that we really shouldn't be making here in this exercise, especially if we spent the time mastering the bird dog in the body weight version that I showed you previously. All right, so make sure that you don't make any of those common mistakes here as we bring up that challenge a notch. Now, of course, we're going to be feeling this challenge big in our core. As I mentioned, we're going to feel that increased challenge in the shoulders and in the hips. And you know, that different challenge creates a different demand for us here as we think about when we want to do this exercise. So if you're at the point where you're doing a resisted bird dog like this, then we're probably going to add this more so at the end of your workout in some type of a core series. That's probably the best place for it. You could use it after your mobility work. Even if you are, again, more advanced as you're doing this exercise, you could use it after your mobility work, maybe some lower repetition ranges to just get some activation going and really fire up that core. That's an option, but again, for me, for the most part, when I'm programming it for clients or using it myself, I'm putting it at the end of the workout in that kind of core focused portion of the program. So that's probably the best place for it in your workout. In terms of sets and reps, this is one where we probably want to do for about 8 to 12 reps or so, because now we're increasing some resistance and demand. So at this point, if you're using this exercise, you probably built some foundational endurance and core stability of doing, 15 or so reps of the exercise. So here we probably bring the reps down a little bit more, add that resistance, and try to focus on more of that true strength challenge that we get from using a more increased resistance band. So what that means is I'd rather see you increase the band tension and keep your rep range probably around 8 to 10 than do more reps, which again, it's an option to do more reps with the band tension. It's just you're gonna have to go lighter, and it's not gonna be that different than the regular bird dog anyway. So that's what I'd recommend for sets and reps. You can use this exercise 2-3 times a week. Generally, it's one I just would add in 1 or 2 times a week, again, in that core focus portion of the workout. But nevertheless, it's a great one that you can really do as much as you like, depending on the goals that you have and what you're looking to get out of the exercise. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and drop a like, leave a comment below. Let me know if you're up for challenging this increased or if you're up for the challenge of this increased bird dog demand. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos that I have coming in this series of how to develop high levels of core stability and strength, especially as it relates over to improving your gait, movement pattern. And then again, you don't want to miss out like maybe you did on the previous video where I showed you how to do that bird dog by itself with no band resistance. So again, until next time, unleash your power, achieve your potential.